to this then, a very early 90s Miele Novotronic W715, which I picked up for 50 quid not long ago. Fully works. Obviously electronic door release. Very nice. Now, max load, it's 5 kg. Interestingly, inside the door is some instructions. Right, so it kind of reads as follows. Basically, sort the washing out according to fabric. Max 5 kg for cottons, 1/2 kg for minimum iron, 1 kg for delicates and wool. Right, the only problem with that, 1.5 kg for minimum iron, in the German manual, because there is no English manual at all anywhere, I can't find an English one, but in the German manual it says 2 kg for minimum iron. So make of that what you will. 2. Turn the stopcock on, of course. Just put water, make sure your hose is in, of course. 3. Determine the amount of detergent needed according to water hardness, wash load and how dirty it is. And if you are using the pre-wash, you know, use a quarter total amount or 1/3 in hard water. Main wash, put the 3/4 total amount into the main wash, or 2/3 if it's in hard water, which we're not. So then, for minimum iron and delicates, use approximately 50% to 66% of the amount recommended for cottons. Woolens, if machine washable, use appropriate washing agent. Obviously for fabric softener, shake the bottle well for use, blah blah blah, then pour it in. Make sure it just doesn't touch the fabrics, yeah we know that. Program 4, switch on the machine. 5, select the spin speed and any relevant additional programs. By that it actually means options. 6, select the wash program and the most economical washing temperature. 7, after removing the washing at the end of the program, turn the program selector to finish. And then program 8, shut the door and turn off the stopcock. Don't shut the door, it will then obviously create mould. That's not very good advice. Right, so the door pretty much works. It releases and it springs off this. The whole door is held into place by this one screw here and then these 2 screws here. Literally, that's the door glass bowling held in place. Nothing else. Piece of proper metal, chrome, stainless steel chrome used. There is slight play in the door. Now this is my fault. I've taken it off and I haven't managed to line this up properly. And I can't work out how to line it up either, weirdly. It doesn't matter, I have managed to, it works. The door is crazed, unfortunately. Many buttons have hit that over the years. There you go. So there is our service information, including serial number, etc. And even power, 2900 watt heater. This is quick. 3100 watt continuous load. Now that is quite a lot of strain on the plug. Luckily it comes with its own self-molded plug and cable, and the cable it comes with is also fairly chunky to be honest, so it works. Right, classic Miele drum. Now, normally what you would do is get the key, what they call the key, out of the detergent drawer, but it's missing. But it doesn't matter, you can open this flap up with something flat bladed. So we will. And behind here, right, we've got a couple of things below here. So we've got this, which of course is your emergency drain hose, which started leaking before. I don't know why. I've undid it, let all the crud that was in it out, and then put the thing back in. It's been fine ever since. But yeah, for some bizarre reason, it was leaking out this end. Really weird. Never mind. Stopped it now. Then we got this. Now this is your emergency door lock. Now of course, it's an electronic door. If there's a power cut, or the machine simply can't get power for whatever reason, maybe it's broken and you want the laundry out, you can just open this up first, then pull this and it will unflick it. And even more neatly, unlike say a modern machine, not modern Miele, but modern machines in general, they'll have something like this, like hot points, whatever. But you kind of have to pull out the door to undo it. The spring loadedness of the door means that when you pull this manually, it will still fling the door open. It's really nice, it's really positive. Right, then we've got this, no, folds away, but that is your runoff flap for the drain filter, which is there. And it's simply just twist, pull out, so easy. Now that is pretty neat to have that there. Slightly high up, so at least you can get something shallowish underneath, shall we say, and you can easily drain it off without this going inside the machine. Right. Right, I'm not going to obviously leave the doors shut because otherwise the machine will start. Anyway, so there's a selection of 23 programs. Of course, there isn't really. Obviously, you know, your temperatures are built into the dial. So interestingly, the dial is the same on the commercial version as well. It's just that they blank off a lot of the temperatures to make it more simple or easy to use. But weirdly, there is a version that you can get where all these temperatures are on that machine, including 95 minimum iron, which is really bizarre but cool at the same time. Anyway, max load for cottons, of course, is 5 kilogram, and we can have 95, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40 and 30 degrees. Now according to manual, it's 2 hours. I have tried it out. It is 2 hours, but weirdly some of the options can end up changing the length. Let me just explain with these options then. So obviously we've got with pre-wash. What that will do is do a 40 degree pre-wash cycle before the main wash. It will add on around 25 minutes or so to the program. So yeah, if it's 2 hours, you add on pre-wash, it's going to be 2 hours 25, of course. Then you got water plus option, which can also be selected with the cottons cycle. What this does is increases the water level on all stages of the cycle. So on the pre-wash it will up it, on the main wash it will up it, and on the rinses it will up it. What it will do first is soak the load and then add on the water. That's clever and that's forward thinking. Right, gentle action. So this can be used on cottons, and what this will do is half the tumble length. What's essentially made for washing, apart from sort of more lightly soiled loads, you know, moderate soiled loads, is weirdly it's supposed to reduce the amount of foam build-up. So if you're in a very soft water area, you should select gentle action on all your cycles regardless. Then we've got short wash. Now what this will do, the machine will heat up to temperature, then we'll run a timed main wash, and then it will do all its rinses as normal. So while it's 2 hours as standard on the cotton cycle, regardless of temperature, once you select short wash, the length of the cycle will vary depending on the temperature. Cotton 30 took just shy of 80 minutes with short wash. Well, it doesn't cancel any of the rinses out or anything like that. It doesn't delete a rinse, for example, or anything like that, which is a bit annoying, really. But this was the early 90s, and that would have been really far ahead of its time. So, at the same token, really good. Right. We've also got variable spin. Max spin for cottons is 1400 RPM. And this doesn't work like a max selector, so, you know, this is what it is. So we've got 1400, 1200, 1100, 1000, 800, 600, 400, and rinse hold. Right, then we've got minimum iron at 60 degrees, 50 degrees, 40 degrees, and 30 degrees. Again, regardless of temperature, the cycle length is fixed at 79 minutes long. Max spin is 900 RPM, so you're going to want to at least select 1000 anyway on the spin dial to get that. Again, all the options are available. You can add on the pre-wash, you can use gentle action and reverse the tumbles. You can use the short wash. Again, I use it on minimum iron at 30. I think it took around 50 minutes instead of the typical 80. Again, it doesn't delete rinses or anything like that. And you can have water plus as well, like that. Now, minimum iron still does a low water level wash, high water level rinses, but it does no intermediate spins. It just ends with a final spin. Right, then we've got delicates up to 60 degrees. Again, fixed time, 67 minutes long. Although I'm pretty sure delicate 60 actually takes longer than that. So maybe it takes temperature into account. It does a high water level wash and high water level rinses and no intermediate spins and a final spin of 900. So apart from the higher water level and the wash, any other differences? So you can use short wash. Again, delicates at 30 with short wash takes 38 minutes. I believe gentle action can still be used as well, but I've not tried it. You can use obviously with a pre-wash as well, and you can also max load 1 kilogram, which to me is a bit small for low considering how much of a high water level it uses. But interestingly, you could wash, say, you could wash 5 shirts and it will do them absolutely perfect. Makes them crease free. Right, then we've got the wool cycle at 40, 30 in cold. Cycle length time, 49 minutes regardless of temperature. So again, the wool cycle uses a high wash water level, high rinse level, no intermediate spins, and of course ends with 900 RPM spin. Again, what difference then? So instead, 1, the tumbles are much shorter than any of the other cycles. 2, it will do a static heat to temperature. So while I say it's 49 minutes, realistically, it isn't going to heat on cold, is it? So, yeah. I say that, what cold was designed, if cold is selected on, you know, delicates or wool, it will heat to a minimum of 24 degrees centigrade. Simply because back when this machine was made, all detergents that were out on the market in the very early 90s would only work from 24 degrees. So that's what Miele did. Made sure them detergents could still work. The other thing is the final spin is at 900, but it's a very long single burst, I believe, at 900 RPM. Of course, short wash doesn't work on this program, nor does gentle action, nor does water plus, and nor does the pre-wash. Starch. Now, starch is 1 rinse followed by the final spin. However, I believe it heats as well, because starch needs heat. Is that right? But yeah. Then we've got spin only, obviously max spin up to 1400. It's a cotton's length spin. Do at any spin speed you want. Then we've got drain only, which just drains out the water. Not more than you want to say. Separate rinse. Now this will do 3 synthetics minimum iron rinses, whatever you want to look at it. So it does 3 high water level minimum iron rinses. Short final spin at 900 RPM. Simple as really. So realistically, if you're doing cottons and you're rinsing them, and you just want to re-rinse them, select separate rinse, select rinse hold, and then when it gets to the final rinse, just then put it onto spin instead. Right, then we've got finish/start. So all the finish and start does is will cancel the current program. Another thing, of course, like I said, you have to... So another thing is when you are selecting a program, if you do with the door shut and then turn the dial, it will start once you have selected your program, but very quickly as well. However, what we can do is open up the door, the on-off's still on, for example, right? We'll select our options, right? And then we can select our program, and then shut the door. And then it will start. Right, that's another thing too. You can open the door at any point you want, right? And once you close it again, obviously it's going to resume the cycle, weirdly. Now, if the water level is too high, it will not allow you to open it. If the drum is spinning, it will not allow you to open it. And if the water is above, I think, 55 degrees centigrade, it will not allow you to open the door. Simple as. Right. Another way we can also select the program we want, we can shut the door first and just simply just turn it to where we want. Oh, so we'll just do that. That's reset. So we could just say it to where we want. Yeah? There's a few ways we can go about it. Right, got a detergent drawer. Now on the front here it says Novotronic W715. Just to also mention, this may also say Hydromatic. Now if it's a Hydromatic, it comes with a WPS hose attached to the machine and has a waterproofing system inside the machine. If it's just Novotronic, it doesn't. Also on the front, it just gives you a little bit of a guide, basically to what to select according to the garments wash article. Now open it up, we've got our, so there's a couple of things going on here. We've got our main wash compartment here, our pre-wash compartment here. We've got our red release there. We've got this flap here. So this presents powder from prematurely going over into the wash if you're doing a pre-wash, for example. So that shuts off like that. Right, then we got this little dial here, which can be turned, but all it's there. So it's set to 2, for example, but all this is, it's a water harness reminder. So obviously 1 is, for soft water, 2 is medium water, 3 is hard water, and 4 is very hard water. So if it was obviously me, I need to set it down to 1, because that's where we are. Right. Then obviously we've got the fabric softener logo here. So obviously there's a main wash logo there and a pre-wash logo there to remind you what goes in which. Right, so there's some powder. Oh, we've got 140ml there. So this will take around 400ml of powder. I think the pre-wash side takes around 200ml of powder, something like that. It's not very big for the main wash, considering that the I wouldn't say it's competition, but definitely other brands like Hoover would have to take like 500-600 ml, something like that. So there's that. Right, fabric softener. Now you can just pour the fabric softener in through the hole here, any one of them, or you can lift it up and pour it in, up to you. Obviously, that is our spigot for our fabric softener. You can take that out to clean if you want, or just take the entire drawer out and clean it that way. So, what, 25 ml? And that's our maximum there. So I think about maximum is around 150 ml, something like that. Am I realising something here? It doesn't have max written anywhere on it. No, it really doesn't. But anyway, your max line's actually this little marker anyway. Not that you can see it if you're pulling it through there. Not that you'll ever, hopefully, if you measure it right, never put too much in. Right, let's give this Miele out of 10 then. So we're going to compare it. This is a 90, I think about 91, 92, something like that, Miele, and comparing it to everything else that was from that period, the 90s. Well, right next to me I've got a Whirlpool, and right next to that I've got a Hoover Classica, and I've been running them in wash races between them. I've also got my AEG as well, 645, which I think slightly later on, near enough the same time frame. And the thing is, this is near enough pretty much the first washing machine to have this. Yeah, fixed in programs. Everything else was still using mechanical timers. Apart from maybe VZUG, but yeah. So, what you've got here is advanced technology. And it was advanced. There was only obviously some top of the range models of washing machine that also use electronics, but weirdly they were a little bit primitive. They weren't like this. They were using obviously buttons to select a program, not a selector like this. And yet today, this is on every washing machine we have. We have selectors like this to select a program. Really far ahead of its time. Also, the options that you got. Obviously, you can have a pre-wash on pretty much any program. You've got hot temperatures, even on a delicates program. You can add water plus, which will up the water level and the wash and rinses. So, yeah, there's no half load, but effectively, without water plus, it's like running with half load. You've got gentle action. That's quite a neat touch. I do like it. It works well in that sense. And of course, you've got short wash, which short does exactly what it says on the tin. You know, fills, heats, and then does a timed wash before finally draining and still carrying on the cycle as normal. Maybe that's the only thing that was griping me, is this short wash button. Well, it does not delete a rinse, but it's primitive and it works. It was later on when Miele started deleting rinses on their short wash. The spin performance, brilliant. You're not going to get anything like it, apart from maybe the 1600 that they brought out slightly later. But, well, yeah, whoa, too far, yeah. Right, yeah, so 1400 spin. It was near enough top of the range at the time. Even in terms of spin, you know, it's a 1400 spin. Obviously, Hotpoint had 1400. But compared to them, they feel a little bit cheap. Miele does everything, it just stays in place no matter what you throw in it. You put stuff in, it will spin, completely unbalanced, and will not move. What more do you want? It's quiet, it's very, very solidly well built. It gives you everything you want from a washing machine, and it's cold fill only. And to be fair, that was a bit of how should I put it? A bit different, because really it was all the other brands, including the German brands like AEG, still had a hot and cold fill, and as well as all the British ones as well, and Italians. Yeah, pretty much. So to have cold fill only, yes, the timings are slightly longer if we're comparing it to the other 90s machines, but it does wash with a lower water level, and it ensures that it will get to temperature in that wash time, you know, from completely cold. It's not doing any of these static heats like these timer models do. None of that. You know, none of that jazz. Right. So, you were to buy this, and you have bought top of the range. Is it worth every penny? Oh yeah. It's still here. Even after all these years. It is worth a 10. It's worth a 10 out of 10. It does everything correct for the time. Yes, it wasn't the cheapest machine on the market. It never was. It's Miele. It's always been expensive. But everything works well. And unlike, say, today's Miele's, everything was a huge jump from, you know, in terms of quality from brands under it. Yeah, even Bosch was not competing at this level. Cool. Right, I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope you enjoyed seeing this nice old Miele. I'll see you lot in another review, so give us a like if you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment down below if you like this or you don't like it, if you don't agree or do agree, whatever. And I'll see you lot in another video, so bye for now.